Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube. I am here on June 18th, 2022 with my next update video, Take 74. Can I just tell you that introductions are really difficult if you haven't filmed in a month? It's really hard to say my name, apparently, and also the date. I said it was 2012 in one of the takes. Anyway, we are here today with an update, and before I get into everything, I would like to say welcome. Welcome to anybody who is returning. Thank you so much for coming back video to video. And also, if you're new here, welcome as well. I hope that you find something you like, you stick around, subscribe, do all the things. Thanks everybody for spending some time with me today, whenever today is for you. So yeah, it's been a month since my last update video, and as such, I have a ton of things to share with you. I did make the decision to show you all of the projects that I have worked on in the last month because there have been some sort of repeat offenders, if you will, some projects that have shown up more than once. So I do have a bunch of projects, but we're just going to show them all. We are just going to talk about cross stitch today. So if you are new, sometimes I will talk about books, see the shelf, and knitting, but not today. Today is just cross stitch. I'm going to show you the things that I have worked on in the last month. It includes a finish, a UFO, a couple of new starts, and a bunch of other things. Some things that are maybe unexpected, which is cool. And then I'm going to show you the things that I plan to work on for the rest of June, because we are in the back half of June, which is very strange. I don't know what time is anymore. And then I have a little bit of haul to share with you. So I think we should just jump right in. Before I do, I always say this, before I do, as far as Q&A is concerned, I do have some questions to answer. I know that there were some questions asked on my last video, as well as one topic for conversation that came up in my Instagram DMs. I'm going to save that for my next video because I'm on a bit of a time crunch here. We are headed over to my brother and sister-in-law's this afternoon to celebrate Father's Day with my father-in-law, so I kind of have an abbreviated window here. So we're going to shrink it down as much as we can, but still get to show you all of the things. And we'll just hold Q&A for next time. So this is a great chance. If you have any questions you'd like to ask me, feel free to do so in the comments below. And if it's something that needs to be talked about on video, then I will be sure to go over it next time. Otherwise, I'll try to reply in the comments. So now let's get into everything that I have worked on in the last few weeks. And we're going to start with a finish, actually. So I worked on this during May. This was supposed to be my last project for Finish It Mania. And I worked on it for a couple of days after my last video. And that is Good Intentions by Barrick. I myself am made entirely of flaws stitched together with good intentions. So here's the thing. While I was working on this in May, my drive to work on it was minimal. It took me a long time to make the fair progress that I made in the month of May. For whatever reason, I don't know if I was done with the fast pace of trying to get finishes, or if for whatever reason this project just wasn't meeting a need for me. I don't know, but I wasn't totally in the mood for stitching on it. So I actually pulled it off the frame much sooner than I had intended, and I'll get to why. That is in a minute here. But it was one of my WhipGo draws for my main board here in June, and so I was sure to work on it early June to try to work on it to the finish. And here in June, I had the motivation. I wanted to work on it. I was super excited and thrilled. I was motivated. I was into it. So I pulled this out. And I put a few days into it. I think it was 4 days here in June. And I finished my Good Intentions. Ah, so pretty. I'm so excited for this finish. And I really love this project. So, a couple of things. The fabric is a 32 count Belfast linen in Winter Wishes by Hand-Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, or Fabrics by Stephanie. And it's just a nice, very subtly modeled pale gray. All of the colors, all of the threads are my own choice. Even the black is Anchor Black. It's charted in either MPI or DMC, and I chose my own colors. Most of these are hand-dyed threads. I have a couple of color and cotton and a few gentle arts in here, and Anchor Black. So yeah, I'm really excited to have it finished. So there are some errors in here, and there are some things that like I might have taken out and redone. But in keeping with the spirit, I am made of flaws stitched together with good intentions. I decided to leave them all. Everything. So like the thread that I used for the dog and the darker bobbins is Gentle Arts Brown Bear. And as you can see, there's a big color shift. It goes from very dark to very light fast. And if I was being a perfectionist, I might have either changed that color or I might have fussy cut it in a way that I didn't do that. But I just decided to leave it. And the same thing kind of happened down here with this bobbin, except that this one looks almost like a solid color, the bottom of it, because that's just the way the thread worked out. Sorry, y'all. I'm having mad FlossTube itchinos today. The same thing happened with this burnt orange over here. There's this really dark section of this thread that's more brown than orange. And if I was being a perfectionist, I might have taken that out and just fussy cut that section out of the thread. But I just decided to go with it. Leave the flaws in as they are. I made a couple of changes. I stitched her skin, all of it 1/1. So it's charted in a mix of 2/2 and 1/1 to get the facial features in there. And I have done the mixed stitch sizes on my Chatelaine Autumn Fairy. I don't love the way that ends up looking. The dimensions are weird. It's a little different. And I just didn't want that for this. This is a fairly small design, and so all of those things are going to stand out. So I stitched the skin 1/1 using a hand-dyed thread. And the downside to using a hand-dyed thread is that some sections are darker than others. And so there's this clear line in her shoulders that's much lighter than her neck and chin area. And again, if I was being a perfectionist, I might have pulled that out and restitched it, either chosen a DMC or tried to work the darker sections out of the thread. I accidentally swapped the colors in this quilt star here. Left it. The only thing that I did rip out and do again is that originally I had stuck my signature down here. And my signature is a Jessica stitch with an S in the middle, the S to represent my last name. And I stitched it in maroon to try to break up all of this orange over here. But then this design is charted with the letter A in the hoop. So it's as if she stitched that A. And at first I wanted to put in a scarlet letter A, and that's what I did actually. Originally it was a red letter A. And then I thought, that's a really great spot for my signature. So I'll insert a close-up here so that you can see this, but that is a Jessica stitch with an S stitched on her fabric there. I'll also insert a close-up of her needle. I stitched that in a way that the back stitch line from the thread actually runs through the eye of the needle, which is something that nobody is ever going to be able to see on camera. I'm only going to be the one to ever see it, but I don't know. I felt like doing it that way. And then normally I just do the Roman numerals for the last 2 digits of the year, but it looked really silly, so I did the full MMXXII for 2022. Down there. And it does kind of break it up a little bit. It does look a little misplaced, so I wondered if I should put half of it over here, but I just left it. I figured it would look silly. MMXXII. That would be silly. When I say that, does that make anybody else think of Hercules? I call the IXII. Anyway. So that is my finished Good Intentions, and I think she's gorgeous. I am super excited to have her all done. And that's finished number 5 so far for 2022, which is awesome. Awesome. And another project that came off of my past Mania whips. So if I ever get to do the Blimey Cat method, then I have a new day open for a new start, which is fun. So that is Good Intentions. And Kathy Barrick commented on my Instagram about it, and I'm not low-key about it at all. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So that is my finished Good Intentions. But that happened here in June. So back in May, as I said, I took Good Intentions off the frame much sooner than I had originally planned on. So real brief here, I'm in the Daily 30 group. They have a monthly challenge. If you complete all 10 of the monthly prompts, then in the following month, you get a free pass that you can use on one task in each of the weekly events for that month. And I had like 2 prompts to get to in May in order to see that happen. And I wanted to make that happen so that I would have the free pass here in June, because here in June I am trying to play catch up with WhipGo as much as I possibly can, and I can't necessarily do that while trying to navigate how to do all of the weekly events. None of this is mandatory. I could just forego all of the weekly events, but I'm a completionist and I want to try as best I can. So anyway, plus, as I said, I was not in the mood to stitch on Good Intentions, so it was really easy. Oh, there's something else I could work on. And that was this project here. This is Spring Dragon by Ingleside Imaginarium. Now, the reason I had to work on this is that the monthly prompt, we actually got to write our own. And for me, the monthly prompt was to work on a Mania project on its WIT birthday. And this was my last one. Excluding a new start, this was my last one. So I had to work on it on this specific day. And I was so excited to work on this again. When I started this in 2020, it got the saddest start because at that point in 2020, I was done with Mania. It was like May 20th. I had had a million new starts. I was done with switching projects every day. I think I was ready to go back to In This Moment. I was also starting to feel pretty yucky because that was like early on in my pregnancy. So there was just a whole lot of reasons why this project did not get enough love in 2020. So I was geeked to get to pull it out again here in 2022 for Mania. And I ended up working on it for quite a few days. I only needed 300 stitches into it, and I did quite a bit more than that. And I was just loving it every step of the way. It was so much fun. To the point where I think the term I've heard is tissue box these. When I finish this one, I'm going to start another one in this collection by Brittany, because I love, love, love these dragons of hers. And that will include both these seasonal ones, because she has one for each of the seasons, and also the elemental ones. But we'll start with the seasonal ones and go from there. Anyway, so much fun to stitch on this one. So very cool. The fabric here is a 32 count Belfast linen in Cauldron Bubble by Coloring Cotton. It was in a Halloween mystery box, and I thought it was absolutely perfect for this gorgeous cherry blossom dragon. Love, 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 love. I even enjoyed stitching all of that white. I was just having a ball. I also managed to get this into Pattern Keeper, not the backstitch, because backstitch doesn't work, but I got the basic stitches into Pattern Keeper, and it's almost flawless. And you know, Pattern Keeper just kind of makes everything easier. So that is where I got to with Spring Dragon. And I feel like I should work on her now, since the first day of summer is early next week. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, gorgeous, gorgeous design. Love Brittany's designs. They're so fun. Okay, so that kind of gave me the checkout of Finish It Mania, and I was able to sort of knock out some last minute goals for the rest of the month. So I needed to work on this project, which lives in this gorgeous bag from Jasmine's Custom Bags, Queen of Hearts, and this is my Mirabilia Focus project bag. And so this year, my Mirabilia focus is the incomparable Bluebeard's Princess Mirabella. And I, along with a bunch of friends, we all picked a pattern that we chunked up into 12 equal pieces, and we are all going to have a finish at the end of the year, but just by working on it little bits at a time. So this was my choice for this year. And she is my oldest Mirabilia. She lives on a 32 count Belfast linen in Knix by Under the Sea Fabrics. And I thought that this section was going to be a lot more time intensive than it actually was. It was still bigger than all my previous ones so far this year, but it was pretty little. You'll see in the before and afters, my section wasn't ginormous. It did include some skin stitches, which was fun. And I got to come over here and frog out some old stitches that were in the wrong color, so that was great. I got to work with some Krynic, and I've got Petite Treasure braid in there. And I got to do a whopping 5 beads this time. Very few beads this time. But I am all up to date with where I need to be. Oh, the other thing I did is I did rip out the 2/2 skin back stitch and replaced it with 1 stranded back stitch. Just because I think the 2 strands was just a little bit too bulky. It was pretty, I don't know, it was too much next to the 1/1 skin. So that's where I'm up to. So my section for June, yeah, I still haven't gotten to this yet this month, will be more significant. It's going to take me a few days, and I hope that I allotted some time for it. Ooh, that's a little sketchy. But yeah, my June section is going to be fairly big. So we'll work on that and get further into my Bluebeard's Princess, and I love her. I am using all of the called for beads because this one calls for Mill Hill Magnifica beads, which are like delicas. I'm using the called for DMC and the called for Karen Water Lilies. I changed all but one of the Krynics to Petite Treasure braid just because of what I had on hand at the time. The border I swapped out for a 1-stranded herringbone because I did not love the way the border was charted. I didn't care for the way it looked, so I swapped it out for a 1-stranded herringbone, which I think is pretty appropriate for a mermaid. And skin of 1/1, as I do. So that is my Bluebeard's Princess Mirabella. And she's going to come back out in the next 2 weeks. Next, we're going to get to some bad news. I have a UFO. And it's kind of a big one. Mirabilia's Garden Beauty. So this is a project that I needed for that monthly challenge I talked about. It was also the longest since I last worked on this piece, and I was in the mood for it. So I made some time to work on it in the month of May. So this is Garden Beauty by Mirabilia. I started this in 2017 during Stitch Mania. I started 4 Mirabilias that May, and all of them have been UFO'd now, which is really sad. But I have good reasons for all of them, so what are you gonna do? So let me talk about what happened. So I pulled this project out and I'm so excited. I'm so proud of myself for this fabric pairing. I really like the combination of the two. And I pull this out to work on it and I'm excited. And I sit down to stitch and I start stitching up in this corner. I had some fill in to do here with a blended thread. So there's a blend of the lightest green in there and the darkest green in there that needed to go in. And what I have discovered is that here in 2022, my stitches are much neater than they were in 2017. They're also of a different height. Like they're dimensionally a little bit flatter to the fabric. My 2017 stitches are very puffy, and I don't like how they mix. I don't love the way that they're blending. I also don't love the blend. Like I don't love the blend. And that kind of cascaded into some things that I don't like about this design. I don't love this laurel thing. I don't love this. I don't love the way that was charted. I don't love those colors. I really, really don't like the brown velvet ribbons at the bottom. Or on her dress, for that matter. I don't love the way these topiary... I'm running into all of these things that I don't like about this. And so I can change them. But if I'm going to change them, if I'm going to do away with this arch thing over top and this thing on the bottom and change the color of this and fix this to where I like it a little better, I'm going to start over. I'm not going to keep going with this iteration of it when I need to change so much about it. I love her in this design. I can even get over the brown velvet ribbons on her dress. But like if I stitched just her and maybe this topiary and fixed it, I think I would like that so much better than I like this iteration of it. And I have too many whips and life is too short and stitching time is too precious to spend it on a project that you are finding things wrong with it. So, bye-bye. This whip is no more. It is to be restarted. I have a pile of things that are to be restarted. Several of those mirrors that I started that mania are in that pile. But, yeah. I don't enjoy UFOing projects, and at the same time, I see the benefit of it, and I am happy with this decision. It felt like a lightning on my shoulders. Like, okay, I can breathe again. Because this isn't it. This is not it. Not going to enjoy it, so I'm not going to do it. So, UFO to be restarted at an undetermined later date. Up next is another one of those projects that I worked on in May, at the end of May, for very little. I think I put in 300 stitches, my bare minimum, in May, and then I worked on it more significantly already here in June. And that project lives in this project bag. This is by Diddly Daddle Designs, and I haven't seen anything from that shop in some time, but This project is Have Faith by Cottage Garden Samplings, and this is Songbird's Garden Series number 7. My oldest active whip from this series, and I am absolutely not stitching them in order. So I have number 1 finished. And so I'm kind of jumping around to different ones. So this is called Have Faith, but mine is called Have Family. And I am aiming for a finish of this in August. But let me show you the progress that I made, and then we'll talk about all of those things. This fabric is a 32 count Belfast linen in vintage cedar plank from Lakeside Linens. And my edit worked. I spoke last time about how I messed up, how all of this is shifted up 1 stitch, and so I needed to take something out down here to bring the bottom of the design up to meet this section. And I think I was second guessing myself, but I did that and it worked and it all matched up, and we are back on track. And most everybody is none the wiser, except for the fact that I just explained it all. But anyway, so I did quite a bit here in June, and I'm pretty pleased with the progress. I didn't quite meet my goal line, so as I do. I think that when I made the decision to try to finish this in August, I had 45 stitches. It can't be that much. Anyway, I think it was 45 stitches by the width left to do. So 45 stitches tall. And so I need to do 15 stitches by the width every month to finish this in August. And so I didn't quite meet that goal line, but I'm fairly close. There's just a little bit left on this side of this crossing leaf here that I need to do. But I'm nonetheless, I'm pretty pleased, and I really enjoyed stitching on it here in June. I have struggled with this because this linen is very soft and it kind of wobbles in my Millennium frame, and it's not ever perfectly straightened on there. But this time I enjoyed it and I had fun, and I didn't want to put it down. And it was good. It was good. So I will work on this in July and hopefully get my section done. My section for July takes me to the top row, the very top row of this big 2-color section. So in a month here, I am headed to New Jersey for the New Jersey FlossTube retreat. I'm so excited. But I think that what I'm going to do is try to get that done early, to try to get my July section done early, so that maybe I can stitch on this while at retreat, because it's a repeating pattern with just 2 colors. So that would be kind of good retreat stitching. Easy to gab if you've got a repeating pattern like that. And just long stretches. So that's the plan. We'll see if that all happens. July is going to be a different month, but we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so that is Have Faith / Family, stitched using the DMCs provided by Vinny. For the conversion, it's originally charted in Weeks Dye Works. I went with DMC, and that includes her substitutions for 2 different Weeks Dye Works in here. The DMCs are very close. They are very close. And I hope that you can hear my kiddo laughing in the background. I replaced Faith with Family using letters from the rest of the series. I think I got actually all the rest of the letters from Simplicity. And then I made some necessary adjustments to make all of that happen. Love this. So much fun. Hoping to finish it in August. Okay, so we get to May 31st. Finally have my birthday start. just to remind you, my birthday is at the end of April. I didn't get to have my birthday start until the end of May, the very end of May, and only for a couple of hours. The long story short is that the chart that I decided to start for my birthday, I needed to convert the threads because it calls for a lot of classic colorworks. And I don't have a classic colorworks stash, but I do have a ton of GAST and a ton of color and cotton. So I needed to do a conversion, but one of the main colors in this design, I did not have enough. So I had to order that thread, and then the package decided to take a trip to New York before it came to me. It was a thing. So I didn't get to start it until the end of the day on May 31st. So that lives in this gorgeous project bag. This is by Hillside Rookery. And all of the project bag makers that I show you, I will link if I can. But this is Hillside Rookery, aka Olivia B. And in here lives my Spring Quaker by Lila's Studio. So thrilled, so excited to finally get this started at the end of May. My progress is not worth however long it has taken me to talk about this. But anyway, this is Spring Quaker. I'm so excited. Now, could I have started in a different spot so that I could have converted the threads earlier? Yeah, but I didn't. I waited until I had everything ready to go to start this. So anyway, so excited. And this is on a gorgeous linen. This is 40 count Newcastle linen in Little Bunny by XShoe Design. I thought it was pretty perfect for this spring design that has bunnies on it. And I got just the littlest start, but I'm digging it. I'm really, really digging it. I cannot wait to get back to this. Oh my goodness. Quaker designs for me are just so satisfying. They are just so satisfying. You get those motifs done. They're fairly large. They don't feel like it when you're stitching them, and then you've got this big chunk of the pattern done, and it's just cool looking, and I love it. I love it, and I'm so excited to work on this again. So this is it's a little bit pinky, which I love. I love for this. And here's my threads. These are just the GAST. I don't have the DMC pulled yet. The classic colorworks to DMC and then DMC to GAST conversion thing, not smooth. Not at all smooth. Would not work for what I thought the colors should look like on here. So anyway, it was an ordeal, and I got my 300 stitches in and had to put it down. Very sad, but love it. Okay, so let's get into, let's do some May stats, because that was the end of May right there, with some that overlapped here into June. But here's some statistics for May. So I had one new start, Spring Quaker. So I had two finishes, the Prairie Schooler ABC and Crescent Dreams by Nora Corbett, or Mirabilia, excuse me. And I had one UFO. So all of that brought me down to 80 works in progress, 80, which was pretty cool. I started the year at 83, so if you add in my 5 new starts and subtract my 5 finishes and my now 3 UFOs, we get down to 80, so pretty cool. And in fact, for a few days here in June, I was down under 80, which was cool. In the month of May, I did 11,465 stitches, which is pretty low for me in the month of May, but that's quite all right. I attribute a lot of that to Schitt's Creek. And then I had 1 0-stitch day in May. 1 0-stitch day, no big deal. Okay, so let me show you my Whipco boards for what it looked like coming into June, so that you can see how far behind I was / am. So here is my primary Whipco board, and this is filled with 24 things I thought I could finish throughout the year, given a week to 2 weeks, depending. So I have like Leah Grow Now here and Have Faith, but those are things that I'm working on every month. So they're on here, but they would take a little bit longer than the couple of weeks. Anyway, so past WIPGO projects that hadn't yet been finished coming into June. November quilts I haven't worked on yet this year. Halloween sampler I haven't worked on yet this year. Witches of Salem I have, but I didn't do enough to meet my WIPGO goal for this board. So this board is 5 days or 1,500 stitches, whichever comes first. And I was 2 days or 560 stitches short by the start of June. So that wasn't yet complete. And then here on May 27th, but here for the month of June, we got numbers 9 and 16, Mouse House, and Good Intentions. So that's what my Mania WIPGO board, why do I keep calling it that? My main WIPGO board, my primary WIPGO board, that's what it looked like coming into June. And then I have these two that are finished but not yet called. So that's how far behind I was at the start of June here. All right, now let's go to the full coverage one. And the full coverage one is even more dire. So these ones were the undone ones, the called but not yet complete. And my goal for each of these blocks on my full coverage board is a half a page. And so a half a page can take me anywhere from 5 to 10 days of focused stitching. So I was quite far behind coming into June, and I still am. And I'm going to go into July still quite far behind. But my desire to start a new full coverage is so up right now. It is so up. And I have given myself the stipulation that I need 2 bingos on this WIPGO board in order to have a new full coverage start. And I've got to get going on that. I have 8 Heaven and Earth designs on the go right now. And so I would like to hold to that stipulation, even though this desire to have a new start is so strong. Because I have so many of those 8 that don't even have a page finished yet. So anyway. So I gotta get cracking on this. And this is going to be a focus for me in July. I think in July I'm going to try to get caught up on this as much as I can. I'm not going to be able to do it all, but as much as I can, I'd like to get caught up on this. So that's where WIPGO stood at the start of June. So June 1st, 2018 was the day that I started Witches of Salem by the Primitive Hare. And so I thought if I only need 2 days on that to knock out that WIPGO goal, or 500 stitches, that would be a really great one to start the month off with. So that lives in this project bag by Emily C. of Eclectic Possessions. She calls them Momily bags. She hasn't made any in a while, which is cool. That's cool. So Primitive Hare, Witches of Salem. This is on a 28 count Maron linen from XJU Designs in the colorway Gold Sand. And I have chosen all of my own colors for this one as well. And this time it looks like text, like I've typed that on. So this time I focused on the names. I ripped out the old one and decided to change the font and choose a new font. And the font that I went with is from Lord Libiton. The spacing, so in the original chart, each of the letters, the capital letters, are 6 stitches high. Converting to 1/1, as I wanted to do, I needed letters that were no taller than 12 stitches. And ideally, I wanted them to be exactly 12 stitches so that I didn't have to do as much counting to try to space it out correctly so that all of the names fit where they're supposed to. There are a lot of names here. A lot of names. So I I really like the way that this is looking. I like it a lot better than the font that I had found beforehand. It's more legible than the previous font, and I think it just better fits the theme of the design. I think the other one was just too pretty. So I did my 5 days and 1,500 stitches. Coincidentally, I got them both on the same day. And this project technically can go away for the rest of the year, but it will not. It will come back out in October, where I would really like to finish this in October. So that's going to be kind of a main goal for me in October. Get this one finished, because it's so stunning, and yeah, I would just really like it done. So that is Witches of Salem. Then I spun a wheel and I got Good Intentions, and then it was Have Faith, and then it was my new start for the month of June here. And I have been looking forward to this new start ever since it was first announced like a month ago. So please tell me that you are watching Imogen X Stitch. Imogen is phenomenal. They are just one of the coolest people I have ever not yet met. Like, ever. I love their channel. I love that they decided to join FlossTube. I love that their send-off, Move Forward in Love. So Jacob shares my sentiments. And Jacob took those words and made a beautiful chart to celebrate Pride Month. And there is the Modern Folk Embroidery Pride Sale, or MFE Pride Sale hashtag on Instagram. Bunch of people have started this. A bunch of people are making great progress on it. I'm jealous. I got hardly any progress on my new start days. I had an ugly headache at the beginning of last week, and it was really bad timing. But I'm thrilled to have it started. So let me show you the progress that I have made. Oh, it's so dinky. It's so dinky, but it's all right. It's started. This is a 40 count Newcastle linen in chickpea bicolor and cotton. And I am stitching this using all of the called for DMCs. The exception to that is the outside border. I am using Threadworks Bradley's Balloons, which I have on order. And that should be here in the next couple of days. This is still on my frame because I thought I might try to work on it here and there over the last couple of days, and it just never came together to be able to do that. I love this. I love it a lot. I love it a lot. So I have made the decision that every time I work on this, I'm not just going to stitch on this and to think about members of the community, but to also pair that with an action item. To also PayPal, Cash App, buy a coffee for somebody in the queer community. To buy from a queer run or queer owned business. To put a letter into the hands of representatives here in my state. To learn something about something in the queer community that I am unaware of. I want to pair it with an action item. Donate to a local organization, or even a nationwide organization, or a global organization that is helping combat violence against the queer community. Down as low as just helping pay the gas bill, all the way up to writing legislation. I want to pair my stitching with an action item because it's just not enough. It's not enough to just stitch and to move forward in love. It's not enough to do so little. So anyway, that's that's what I'm doing. And I love this. And I hope to get to work on this again here very soon. Another project that I am working on here this month, a lot. I'm working on this a lot. This has seen arguably the majority of my efforts so far in June. And as I showed you my full coverage whipco board, I'm way behind. I decided here in June that I was going to pick one of my full coverage designs, put it on a Q-snap, and maybe try to do what I have seen some people do very successfully, a daily 30. And for me, a daily block would be really cool. It would put consistent progress into a piece, but it wouldn't be so overwhelming. And so I decided to start with Magic Study because this is a project that I need just the page finish and then it goes away for the rest of the year. It's also a project that I can only work on a Q-snap. It doesn't fit on my Millennium frame. It's too wide. So I decided to start with Magic Study. And I was apprehensive about it because it's a lot of fabric to try to corral into an 8x8 Q-snap, which is my preferred. It's just a lot. So I was apprehensive about it, and I have looked forward to my Magic Study stitching every single day that I get to work on it. Some days I can't switch projects. Some days I only get one stitching session, and so it goes to my main project for the day. And so then a couple days later I'll play catch up. And then I even managed to work into my rotation this month, a 3-day rotation where I just worked on this, where this was my only project for the day, so that I could try to get as much into this page as I could. It has been called twice now. It's the only 2 times that it's on that full coverage board, so I need to put some big effort into it. So preview here of what the design will look like finished. It's probably been up the whole time I've been talking. And I've just been having a ball. So here is the progress that I made. And full coverage never looks good on this camera. It never looks good. I thought it might being on the Q-snap as opposed to my Millennium frame, but no, it just looked bad. I swear it doesn't look like that bad in person. That's disappointing. Well, anyway, I think I worked out the trick was to tilt it, which is a lot easier to do on a big Q-snap. By the way, just admire this. Admire this. This fabric is huge and it's all lumped up in there. I am so disappointed that things don't show up very prettily. Now this top left corner of this design is honestly not very pretty to begin with. DMC and purple, DMC got to get it together with purple because their purple range is so sad. This is a lot of DMC 32 so far, which is really kind of a gray purple, a grurple, which isn't even fun to say. So it's just not as pretty as the preview shows it to be. So anyway, I'm loving this. I'm really enjoying it. I have a very hard time putting this down. For instance, this morning I did 3 blocks. In part because my next project isn't set up on the frame yet. But nonetheless, so much fun. So much fun. And I finally crossed the 1% mark. I'm actually at 1.25% complete on this now. I have showed it on my Instagram several times, but I use StitchPal, which is an app that if you know the exact number of stitches in the design and you input the exact number of stitches you do, it will calculate when you might finish this. And this one, at the start of June, told me that I would finish this in the year 2589. 570 years from now. And I am very proud to say that as of today, it says I will finish this on March 28th of 2183. So I only have to live an extra 100 years at the current pace. I am averaging currently 7 stitches a day since having started this. Not too bad. 1% in 2 years. So I only need 198 more, if that's the pace that I go. Anyway, this is fun. I'm really enjoying this. I'm going to stick with this one because, like I said, it's been called twice. I have one of those WIPGO goals complete, but I'm going to stick with this until I get the page finished, which I am projected to do in early mid-July. So yeah, that is Magic Study. Oh, and this is the bottom of the page right here. Very fun. I love full coverage. I just have to tell you that the full coverage bug it's way up there right now. I didn't do any full coverage stitching in the month of May, and my heart is just craving it. It's craving all of it. And we'll talk. we'll talk here in a minute. So that is what I have worked on today. Okay, so let's switch over and talk about some plans because I have some projects that I need to get to here before the end of June. So next up on my frame, I normally am spinning a wheel these days to decide what's next, but Danny's gonna have game night tonight, and so I'm gonna stitch, and I would like to put some good work into a project that lives in this beautiful project bag from the Brass Button. And this is my Personal Sunshine by Heaven and Earth Designs. I am in the mood to continue this full coverage train, so I'm going to work on this tonight. And let me just real briefly show you where I'm starting from with this. I can get my fabric out fairly quickly. This is on a 25 count, just plain Lugana. I am more inclined to use pre-gridded, the Easy Guide, but I started this before that existed. So here we are with 2 pages done, and I'm going to get started on page 7 here. Right there. Very cool. I'm looking forward to getting into this. This is also to previously called on my full coverage WIPGO board, so I've got the whole page to do to be able to mark those complete. I won't be able to get to that this month. I probably won't finish even the half page in the next 3 days, but getting started is always a good thing. So there's that one. That's going to be first. I'll spend a couple of days on that, and then I'll go back to the wheel. So Bluebeard's Princess needs progress. This piece needs progress. So I would like to finish this in September. I'm gonna push to finish this in September. At the bare minimum, I need 400 stitches into this project, but I'd like to, as I do, break up whatever I've got left into monthly segments and see what I need to get done here in June to maybe try to see this goal complete in September. So that is Leah Gornow, 1872 by Merry Wind Farm. And this is on a 32 count Belfast linen in vintage Meadow Rue from Lakeside Linens. This is so beautiful. I cannot wait to work on this again. And hopefully my section for June isn't too big because I have a lot to do, and I think there's 12 days left? Yikes. Okay. Next is my only project that lives in a Lovey-Moore Studio book sleeve / project sleeve. And in here is one of my Mania, I keep saying that, one of my WIPGO calls for June. No. This was called in May, I think. And this is the Halloween sampler by Cottage Garden Samplings. I have a lot of their stuff. So, yeah. This is a project that I started in 2020, trying to do this kind of bi-weekly stitch along, in which I was supposed to work on a letter every 2 weeks. And that ended fairly quickly, didn't it? So this I'm hoping to get 1,500 stitches into fairly quickly. The good news is lettering is pretty fast, so I think I can do that. And this fabric is 32 count Belfast in Tombstone by Color and Cotton. This is a gorgeous gray. Gorgeous, gorgeous gray. So we'll see how far I can get. And then my whip go call for June was Good Intentions and Mouse House by Mill Hill. And so I'd really like to put some good work into this. This was a Mania start from 2021. And this is on a 28 count cachet linen in Ale by Picture This Plus. So I'd like to put in 1,500 stitches into this. Hopefully that could go pretty quick. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to all of this. 12 days. 1, 2, 3, 4 projects. 5 projects. Something's going to have to get bumped. So anyway, hopefully I can get to this. The only things that cannot get bumped are Leah Grown Out and Personal Sunshine. Even Personal Sunshine can get bumped. Leah Grown Out and Bluebeard's Princess can't get bumped. So hopefully I can get to all of this. So that's what I have to work on for the rest of June. I suppose next time I film, we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, let's get into some haul. So the thread that I needed for Spring Quaker, I found it. The only place I could find it was Stitchery Express, Cindy Sorley. And you can't just order a couple skeins of thread. So I ordered Bellatrix by Bella Filipina because I am in love with Bella Filipina right now. I'm loving everything that Aldrin publishes. So good. So gorgeous. And yeah. Couldn't pass her up. I know that I've gotten some monthly things. I know that I got at least 1 or 2 of my Gentle Arts. I never show you guys those. I have the latest in the Year in the Woods series by Cottage Garden Samplings, but that's been put away. So most of any of the haul that I have, I don't have to show you here. But one thing that I do have is this super, super adorable Kid Scientists. So, a while back, the Brass Button had an update, and she previewed that she was going to have this fabric in some of her project bags. And so I set an alarm for the wrong day, for a day late. And so I missed it. So I messaged Jennifer and I said, Jennifer, is there any chance that you have any more of that fabric? She said, I'll keep my eyes peeled. If I come up with any more of that fabric, I'll be sure to let you know. And so she messaged me a week or so ago, maybe a little more. And she said, guess what? I found some. And I said, awesome. I am definitely in. I just love all of the scientists. You know, I have a science background. I was in research, and Baby Does Stuff is so inquisitive that I just love this. I love this so much. And I love the hot pink background of it. So I actually moved, and this is just the fabric, but this is the fabric for Little Wings by Jeremiah Kettner because it's that hot pink color. And since Little Wings is for Baby Does Stuff, I thought this was a pretty perfect project bag for that piece. So I'm really wanting to start this. I need to start getting it kitted up and getting it ready, but I'm not at a point where I can necessarily have a full coverage start yet. So there's that. Speaking of full coverage starts, the Anything Amy Sal just about did me in over the weekend. So that is something that I think the Stitch Coutiers started. And a bunch of other people have joined in and added in their Amy Stewart starts. I don't have an Amy Stewart having an Earth Design on the go, and I want one really bad. I'm not supposed to start the Grand Library until January 1st, and I'm not going to. Sarah from Stitchin' Mommy and I, we're both going to do, she's going to do a shelf from that design, and I'm going to do the whole big thing. And we're gonna start that in January, and so I'm gonna hold out for that. But I would like to start an Amy Stewart, and I'm feeling this desire to start a HAED. And then Michelle posted in the official Facebook group for HAED the other day from Sarah Burrier, some artwork from her, and I just about fell out of my chair. So I bought a couple of HAEDs. That's what all of this is coming down to. I bought a couple of HAED charts. Do I need any more HAED charts in my stash? No, I don't. I'm pretty sure that my Google Drive was like, are you sure about that? But I couldn't help it. I'm in that mode. I'm in that zone to start a new full coverage design. I saw that Andrea from I Heart Cross Stitch is starting this gorgeous hummingbirds piece, and I have this desire to start do you hear me? I have this desire to start a HAED on 40 count 1/2, and I thought, like, that design looks like it might be soft enough to lend itself to the 40 count 1/2. I want to start, and I have so many that I am so in love with, and I am not far enough into. Anyway, so I bought these 2 HAEDs, and so the first is Winter by Sarah Butcher Burrier, I think. Forgive me if I have misspoken. The second is the Amy Stewart that I'm going to start this year once I get my second set of Whip Go Bingos. And that is a quick stitch. I'm going to put the stitch count on the screen because nothing about this is quick. Once Upon a Fairy Tale. It is just the dragon, and it kind of stretches up far enough to where you can see the woman in the unicorn, and it stretches down to where you can see one of the wolves. But it's just the dragon. I had every intention of doing supersize Once Upon a Fairy Tale, and since I am instead redirecting and going with the Grand Library, I thought maybe this could be my way of doing Once Upon a Fairy Tale. It is massive. They've got to come up with a new word because quick stitch is just not it. That's not it. But it's stunning, and I've already got it uploaded into Pattern Keeper, and I am going to get some fabric and have that ready to go for when I get my second set of Whip Go Bingos. So I could have as many as 10 HAEDs by the end of the year. And maybe even more. I mean, who knows? Who knows how long this is? Who knows? There are several in my stash that I want to start. I know that Sarah's doing the Stever montages from Pain Free Crafts. That summer one, for whatever reason, is drawing me. I don't know. I don't know. It's a little madness right now. But it's okay, because this is my stitching, and this is my hobby, and this is my interest, and this is my meditation, and it is my relax. It is my reset. It is my favorite way to start the day, and it is my favorite way to end the day. So anyway, all that aside, I think the end of the year might have some HAED starts, which sounds weird to say out loud. Okay, that's enough of that. I also picked up another chart that was just released the other day. Tomorrow is Juneteenth. It is, Juneteenth is a day that celebrates the actual end of slavery here in the United States in 1865, June 19th, 1865. That is when all Americans were declared free. And that is a day that is worth celebrating. And Shaded Stitchery has created a beautiful sampler to honor Juneteenth. It's called This Juneteenth Day. I'm going to link it in the description box below, so that you can go pick it up. Shaded Stitchery has a Gumroad, and she's got a bunch. She has quite a few designs in there, and they are all stunning. This Juneteenth Day, I picked up as fast as I could. It's beautiful, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to start it tomorrow, but I would like to start it this year if at all possible, because it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So that is everything. That's all of my whips. That is all of my plans, and that is all of the stash for this go round. Once again, thank you everybody so much for watching, for sticking around, and I will hopefully be getting back to a weekly or a bi-weekly at the very latest sort of a schedule for filming. Until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy. As always, be kind. See you next time.